Hey everybody, wanted to share a quick story with you. This is my son Micaiah. He's my oldest. But I want to share a quick kind of a testimony with you. A lot of times when people think of testimonies, they think about when the moment they came to Christ, and obviously my story there is pretty powerful. But I really felt led to share a different testimony, and it kind of has to do with this one here. But before I came to Christ, I lived a very rebellious life. I ran from the Lord. During my high school years, I hurt a lot of people. Did a lot of damage. I partied a lot. I lived a very promiscuous lifestyle. Like I said, I just hurt a lot of people. I did a lot of damage, and God did a miracle in my life. And when I was partying, I started kind of dealing with some substance abuse and some things like that, and the Lord delivered me from that in a miraculous way. And I knew at that moment, I didn't know anything about the Lord at that time, but I knew I wanted to serve Him. That miracle was what hooked me with Him. And so fast forward several years later, Chelsea and I are married, and we're pregnant with our first one here, which he's 5 now. But we were pregnant with him, and when you have your first kid, you always you deal with a lot of emotional things. You start questioning a lot of stuff. You're nervous, you're anxious, you're excited, you got every emotion going every day, it seems like. And then of course when you're the expectant mother, you've got the hormones involved on top of that, so then it's even more crazy. And we were going through that together. And I remember one of the things that I really struggled with was the fear of not knowing, if my children would have to pay for my sins. If the mistakes I made was going to cause something to be wrong, with them. And when you're a new father, you deal with this a little more than others, more than other times in life. But it was real. I remember it kept me up at night. I woke up thinking about it. I went through the day thinking about it. And when we were about 15 weeks pregnant with him, I was working at Cook's Pest Control, and I was working down South Huntsville at a house, and Chelsea called me and said, Zach, something's wrong. And instantly I remember I can still almost feel the fear grip me, and that was my first thought was, here we go, I'm going to have to pay for this, in the worst way possible. And I remember I left that house and I was driving up towards Huntsville by the hospital where the high-risk doctor was, and I was just praying the whole way. I mean, I was praying everything I knew. I was, speaking in tongues, praying, doing everything that there was. And I remember the moment that I pulled into the parking lot, all of a sudden I heard the Lord speak, and it was almost as clear as anything that I've heard on this earth. But He said, Zach, that baby is not in her belly. And of course, my first thought was, what do you mean? I started getting even more nervous almost. And the Lord said, that baby is in my hand. Excuse me. And ever since that moment, I've learned a lot of things, but I've never ever. That was the last time I ever worried about any of my kids. And we have 4 now, and I never had that same fear anymore. That fear was gone. Because I knew the Lord, that when He spoke, it's yes and amen. When God speaks, that's it. The world can't do anything with it. The enemy can't do anything with it. As long as I hear God speak, as long as I feel His presence, I'm good. And that also set in motion a new way of viewing life for me. I no longer did I need, did I need calmness in life in order to feel peace. I didn't need everything to go good in order to feel peace. all I needed to know was that God was with me. And as long as God was with me, there could be storms in life. I can go through mess, but I need to know God's with me. And, and that's my peace. It's kind of like the disciples in the boat, they were focused on the storm. They were worried sick because of the storm. We're about to die, and then there's Jesus asleep, sleeping during it. I just remember there's been so many times in life that God's done the same thing, brought peace, even when there was no peace to be found outwardly, that He is my peace now. And, and I've told Chelsea many times, I don't care, what it looks like. I don't care the circumstances anymore. I just need to feel His presence. I need to know He's still with me. I need to hear Him speak. And so when you're going through those trials, when you're going through those tough times, or when you're facing a Goliath that needs to go down, know what David really had. David didn't just have 5 stones. He had the Lord with him, and he knew that was all he needed. He didn't really even need the stones. So anyways, hope that encourages you. We love y'all, and of course we're here to help anytime, and I'm going to go see what he's getting into now. But love y'all.